cams on. All right, we're live. Hi, I'm Dan Seiler, and this is Pat Licata.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, we're excited that you're joining us today because we're at a different location than we usually would be. Pat, where are we? And tell the folks about where we're at.
Okay, we are coming to you live from Clearwater Fire Grill in Locust Grove. We have teamed up with Clearwater to offer you 2 tickets to an upcoming Nats game on Thursday, June 17th, as well as Clearwater is going to be giving you a $50 gift certificate for dinner for 2. So we will be doing that drawing at the end of today's LicataLive.
So stay tuned with us throughout our presentation today. Hey, one of the other things I want to tell you about, because I don't live in Locust Grove, and a lot of people will pass by this very fine grill just driving by it. So we want you to remember, it's in Locust Grove, and it's on Route 3, about halfway between Fredericksburg and Culpeper. It's a great stop to stay out of either of those towns, have a nice dinner or a nice lunch. It's one of our favorite hangouts because our office is just a few minutes away. So
yes,
we would encourage you to stop by and have a quick bite to eat when you're coming from wine country or going to wine country.
and if you have any catering needs, Clearwater also caters, and we've had breakfast catered at our office on several occasions, and it is absolutely superb. So please think of Clearwater Fire Grill for your catering needs or to stop and have lunch or dinner. And I do know that they also have karaoke some nights, and a lot of people really enjoy that.
Yeah, good place to stop
by.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Pat and I were having a discussion, and we were a little bit perplexed as to, what we were going to talk about. And one of the things that we had noticed in the office, although kind of on an anecdotal basis, it seemed to us that there seemed to be a slowdown in terms of actual physical activity between buyers and sellers. Didn't we see that, Pat?
We have, and we started thinking, what could cause it? And I think the biggest thing is, of course, with the COVID restrictions being lifted, people are finally able to get out and enjoy time with family and friends. Of course, you also have school letting out,
Definitely.
Graduations, etc., which is a time for celebration and vacations. So we think that's part of it.
And we wouldn't discourage you from taking a vacation. It's time to get out and get around with your family and see family that you haven't seen in a while.
Absolutely.
I know I'm going to be doing that at the end of July.
Yes.
So that's one contributing factor, but I shared with Pat, and I'm going to read this almost verbatim. It's a quote from Evan Sully at Reuters, and he published this last night. It said, there's a low record percentage of consumers who believe it's a good time to buy a home. The worries about the surging prices and the small supply of homes on the market is now outweighing the improved sentiment about homes, jobs, and income. And this comes from Fannie Mae. And Fannie Mae does a purchase sentiment index every month, kind of doing measure of certain variables in the marketplace. And I shared this with Pat and the group this morning because we consider ourselves to be students of the market, don't we, Pat?
Absolutely.
And we want to share that knowledge, especially when it's pertinent to our friends, family, and clients and how it affects their lives. But Fannie Mae had noted that there was a decline of home purchase sentiment from 47% to 35% in their index. Now, pretty interesting statistic because we're sitting in our office going, hey, we're starting to see this happen in our marketplace. Strangely enough, I had a conversation with one of our colleagues in Richmond, and they said that they had seen the same thing in their marketplace. And the thought was that the market pricing had plateaued in terms of what buyers would actually tolerate. So I think we would, in an economics term, thinking back to my freshman economics class, saying the elasticity is leaving the market. And that's pretty technical for people just saying, hey, no mas, we've had it. We're kind of done. Hey, Nancy, thanks for logging on to us. We really appreciate you joining us. The other thing that we saw in this home purchase sentiment index is not only was the drop in May from 47 to 35, but in the previous month it had gone down from 56% to 47%. So I think we're seeing buyers digging their heels a little bit. Pat, what do you think?
Well, I do think so. So we've got, 2 consecutive months of we're seeing, I don't want to call it a downturn because clearly it is still a seller's market because of the fact that there is such limited inventory. But I would say that at this point we're seeing that potential buyers are saying, I'm not going to be strictly focused at this moment on getting a house. I've got other things that I can spend my time doing. So I think that could be part of it as well. We have one of the agents on our team has a listing in Alexandria, and he had over the weekend a very long conversation with another Alexandria agent who said the exact same thing that Dan had mentioned. We had a call today with a gentleman from Texas who said that he coaches realtors all around the country, and he stated that he is seeing that his coaching clients, who are all realtors, are saying the exact same thing. Doesn't mean that the market is no longer a great market for sellers. It really does not whatsoever mean that. It just means that maybe homes are not going to get as many offers as quickly, but homes still are commanding a great price in today's market, and they are still selling certainly faster rather than slower.
Pat, let me just share with you the last statistic in the Fredericksburg, Stafford, Orange County marketplace, including Spotsylvania County, was that the average home was staying on the market. I think 16 days was the last statistic that I saw. So my guess is that we're probably going to creep up in terms of days on the market, wouldn't you think?
I would think so. I mean, and I also feel as though we're going to be seeing more inventory coming on the market within the next couple of months. And I believe that, again, COVID restrictions being lifted is enabling people to feel comfortable about having people in their home, as well as traveling to find the next home to which they want to move.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. I mean, look at us. I mean, this is the first time we've been to a restaurant, and I don't know how long without having to walk in the restaurant without a mask.
Exactly.
And I think that's just an indicator as to all of us wanting to get out of our houses. And for me personally, getting to see family for the first time in a year and 3 months, I'm looking forward to doing that. If the market is going to go through this swing, Pat, what would you advise a seller to do in terms of, say, preparing a house for sale?
Well, I've given that a lot of thought, even though you didn't tell me that this is a question you were going to ask me.
No, but it seems to fit, doesn't it?
It does fit. So in the market that we've seen for the last 6 months to a year, there were many things that a seller would say, do I need to do this before I put my home on the market? And most often the answer was no, because you knew that it would be typically a multiple offer situation. And so a lot of things that we would typically say a seller should do in order to command the highest net for their home, we would say you didn't need to do. Now I am rethinking that because, again, as students of the market, we are seeing signs that it may not be as absolutely spectacular as it had been for sellers, and there may be some things that they should do before they put their home on the market. Often, when your home goes in the MLS, the photographs that are taken are, well, not often, but that is the case. When your photographs are taken so that your home is placed in the MLS, that is the absolute first impression that someone gets of your home. So the curb appeal is important. It's more important when people actually walk to your home, up to your house in person or by video. But for most people, I would say it's decluttering. That's really the biggest thing that needs to be done, and that's something that typically doesn't cost any money. It's taking away the personal items that make your home feel like home to you. And you know you've done a great job when you walk into your house and it doesn't feel like yours anymore. And that's what we want, because we want the buyer to come in and to be able to visualize it being their home with their belongings.
So really, Pat, we're going back to basics, aren't we, in terms of home sale preparation?
I think that's accurate. I do. I think that's accurate. Some of the things that are important, I would say, from a systems perspective of your home is having your HVAC system serviced. Whether it's new or old, buyers typically want to see that it's been serviced within the last 6 months. If you need a referral for that, I have the absolute best vendor on earth who does HVAC servicing and repair and replacement. It's one of my absolute best vendors, so I'm more than happy to give you his information. If you'd like it, just let me know. I can be reached email pat@licatagroup.com, or you can call our office or my cell phone. We're easy to be found.
Pat, that's an excellent point. I was in a house the other day, and in the house there was condensation coming from the HVAC ductwork. And, my first inclination was the HVAC had not been serviced properly in this case, many, many years. And my client was aware of that. They were the buyer side of this equation. So they knew what they were getting into, but my first thought was, boy, this unit hasn't been serviced in years. I mean, and for even the average person coming off the street looking at a home, when they see water dripping off of ductwork onto the floor of the floors. I mean, frequently you can't do anything in terms of expense for flooring. Sometimes you can, and sometimes you just don't have the budget to it. But, having your carpet cleaned, vacuumed, doing a deep, thorough cleaning, these are all things that we as people can do by ourselves. Right. You don't need to pay anybody to do it. Do we have people who do that for you? Sure, we got those people. But for us, hey, if you're looking for getting your home picture ready, because as Pat said, that's the first impression, cleaning, carpet cleaning, and painting. Painting's not terribly difficult. For a couple $100 worth of paint, you can actually get the return in terms of value under any market situation of thousands of dollars.
That's absolutely true. And when Dan was just talking about condition of floor and then painting, it brought to mind that if a home is vacant, if there's no furniture in it, the two most important things are the condition of the walls and the flooring, because there is nothing to distract attention from the walls and the floor. So if your home is empty and you do want top dollar, then that would be an area that I would suggest that you spend some time and effort, if not money, in getting those things in as best a shape as you can, because again, there's nothing to distract the eyes from those items.
Yeah, we're coming back to market fundamentals. So one of the things that Pat and I have observed right in our study, and you can see it too, is the market is always in a pendulum motion. It's either swinging one way to sellers or back to buyers. So we're in an extreme seller's market now, but eventually it will swing back to market. Pat had mentioned inventory, right? what are you seeing in terms of inventory?
Well, it's still very limited inventory, which is contributing to the fact that it is still greatly a seller's market. However, it is also a buyer's market because interest rates are so low. So that is really, I think, those two, I can't think of the word.
Drivers.
Yes, those two drivers, thank you,
Yeah.
Dan, are what is really creating the perfect storm for homes being sold so quickly at top dollar. Is there aren't many homes to be purchased, and the interest rates are so low that it's allowing a larger buyer pool to be interested in those homes that are on the market.
Yeah, definitely we're seeing that. One of the things that I'm seeing with regard to the Stafford County, Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania area, now not so much in our enclave here at the Lake of the Woods neighborhood, but I'm noticing just an entire dearth of coming soon. So in the multiple listing service, you can see what is going to be coming on the market if an agent so posts it. And I'm seeing, pages of coming soons together with active listings. A month ago, we weren't seeing that. So you can kind of see, again, kind of just from an eyeball perspective, there's going to be more homes in the market. Now, Pat typically represents sellers. I typically represent buyers and sellers. And one of the concerns that I have, and I shared that with our colleague Dave McPherson, was we've had several clients just throw up their hands and say, I'm just going to rent. And I would share with you, I understand that, but now might be a time to kind of come back into the marketplace and see if there's an opportunity for you again. We're seeing very few rentals on the market, and we're seeing lenient landlords in many cases say, hey, if you exit the house and buy another house, I have an opportunity perhaps to raise the rent on the next tenant. Now, does this happen all the time? Well, no, but it does happen, and there are opportunities, and our job, I think, in large part, is to give people options.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, one of the lessons that Pat and John remind me of is, hey, our job isn't to make the decision for our clients, but merely present the options and educate them on what might be best for them, and let them decide, right?
That's absolutely true. Our job really is to get our client what they want, and that is number one. So doesn't matter really as far as our opinion is concerned, and clearly though most often clients would like our advice because, as Dan mentioned, we're students of the market, but what's most important is what does the client want, and of course it varies for buyers and sellers. So that's why we don't do dual agency. And I don't know if you're familiar with what dual agency means, but that is when one realtor represents both the buyer and the seller. In our opinion, that is a conflict of interest. Because let's say, for example, you as the seller tell me what your bottom line is that you will accept, even if I never ask you, which I would not. But if you were to tell me that for some reason, and then I was working with a buyer who wanted to offer you that specific amount, it is human nature that you would think that I must have told them that, even if I hadn't. So we just don't want to go there. As an agent representing you as the seller, it is my job to get you the best price and terms for your home with the least amount of contingencies. If I'm working with the buyer, it's to get the home for the least amount at terms that are more favorable to them. So I think you can see why it's something that in our practice we just don't do.
And for me personally, it brings hoots of laughter when John can't get information from Pat because she's representing the seller and John is representing the buyer. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter that they've been married for over 30 years.
Nope.
That information is not shared.
It's not. He's the CIA and I'm the FBI.
There you go. There you go. Well, on that note, I think we've giving you some great information. Of course, you can reach us through Facebook or communicate to us through many of our contact information outlets that are in this post. Call us. Let us know what questions you have on your mind, and we'd be glad to answer them for you. But Pat, we have one more thing to do today, and
We do.
that's pick our winner for 2 tickets to the Fred Nats and 2 free dinners up to a value of $50, which is fantastic. For
Yes, and these are tickets for the Thursday, June 17th game at 7:05, and I am pressing our spinner here. I wish you could see it. And let's see. I don't know how to click to spin. There we go. Oh, the wheel's spinning. Let's see who won the tickets.
All right. Who knew there was an electronic wheel of fortune?
Jay Testa.
Hey, Jay. Hey, you're our winner today. So, Jay, just reach out to Jasmine in our office, and she'll set you up to pick up the tickets and the coupons for dinner at Clearwater Fire Grill. Great place. And thanks for joining us again at LicataLive. Remember, every Tuesday at 11 a.m., we'll be back to you with another episode of LicataLive.
Thank you so much for watching, and if you are too shy to post a question on a live, please feel free to email us or on our Facebook page, message us with your question, and we'll be sure to get back to you with an answer. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Have a great week.